Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Johnny TCG video. I'm Johnny TCG. I'm excited to see you here today. I hope you've all had an amazing day so far. Today we're taking a look at Red Black Koby, a new leader from OP11 that so far hasn't really gotten a lot of love. The question I'm asking, is that fair? Is he really not that great of a leader? Or are people overlooking him? Is he a sleeper leader? Should you give him a shot in this current meta? Folks, if you watch the channel often, you'll know that in just about every video I say, man, I really like this leader. It's a really interesting leader ability. Blah, blah, blah. I'm having a lot of fun. Well, today is going to be one of those days where I actually have a leader which I didn't enjoy playing. You know, I did my best. I really tried to get the hang of Koby and I just wasn't really feeling him. I played a ton of games and I just couldn't get him really to work great. Tried out a couple different deck lists too. Folks, this is not my usual video where I'm telling you to try this deck out. I mean, you should definitely check this deck out if you're into Koby as a character, if you want to just try out a new leader and have some fun. It's always fun to mess around with a new deck, but personally, I'm just not a big Koby fan. With that being said, that's not going to stop me from trying to cook up a list that I can at least have fun with. Maybe you can have fun with it as well. Today we're going to be taking a deep deck profile, taking a look at all the cards in this list. Then we're going to do a custom leader giveaway. If you're new to the channel, we do giveaways in just about every video. Then we're going to take this deck to the sim, play a couple games, see how it does, and talk about it afterwards. If you're new to the channel and want to stay up to date with uploads, consider hitting that subscribe button down below. With that being said, let's get into the deck profile. Koby is a 4-life 5,000 power leader with 2 abilities. His first ability is that your sword type characters can attack characters on the turn they are played. Then he has the second ability of once per turn, when one of your navy type characters with an original power of 7,000 or less would be removed from the field by one of your opponent's effects. You may instead put 3 cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck. His first ability is going to make it so that you can really try to control board using the characters you play and get value from them the turn you play them. They're going to be able to swing at your opponent's characters, of course. And then his second ability is mainly for dealing with removal decks, whether that be a black deck like Rob Lucci that's constantly trying to KO your characters, or even like blue purple Luffy that can hit one of your characters with a Gum Gum Red Rock. Of course, the first one does have its use cases, but at least for me, I felt it kind of be awkward and clunky sometimes. Maybe it's just the support he got, maybe it's just the deck list. Let's take a look at the deck. First off, we do have 4 of the new Peacock Searcher from OP11, a 1-cost 0 power searcher with 1k counter. She's got the on-play ability of looking at the top 5 cards of your deck for a navy card other than Peacock. Then she also has the activate main. You may trash this character and then give up to one of your characters plus 1000 power for the rest of the turn. That's pretty solid, especially with a searcher like this. You're probably not getting value after the turn you play her, and so it's a great way to get some value after the fact. You know, she's sitting on board, you can give one of your characters plus 1000 power. Getting her in the trash, of course, is going to help with your leader ability. Next, we've got the 1-cost 2000 power 2k counter Prince Groose, another OP11 card that isn't run in every list, but I do like him as a 2-of spicy pick. He's got the ability of when attacking, all of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2000 or less cannot activate blocker this turn. And ladies and gentlemen, this card makes me sick to my stomach. You'll see in one of the games, I don't want to spoil it, one of the games I think I could have won if I played this card out and just went for game. Unfortunately though, I don't want to spoil it anymore, but just stay tuned for the games because this ability can actually be pretty crazy and does come up from time to time. For that reason, I enjoy him at 2, but if you don't like him, let me know in the comments down below. Next up, we're running 3 of the OP11 3-cost 3000 power 1k counter Borsalino blockers. As you'll see, most of the cards in this deck list are new from OP11. Borsalino's got a really interesting ability, and that's activate main. You may rest him, and then one of your leader or characters with the navy type can attack active characters during the turn. That is a really strong ability because, as you'll see with our leader ability, our characters can attack other characters the turn they're played, but that does not allow you to attack active characters. So combining Borsalino with a bigger body like Hibari with X-Drake can be really powerful. Do not sleep on that combo, folks. And then of course, even though he's rested and won't be actually technically a blocker, your opponent will probably want to swing into him to get him off the board, so he's still acting as a blocker. I'm running 4 copies of Doll, a 4-cost 1000 power 1k counter blocker from OP11. I really like her ability. She's got the on-play ability of trashing 1 card from your hand. If your leader has the navy type, you give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 6000 power during the turn. This is kind of like a gamma knife, folks. It's a really good way to get rid of those annoying characters that are just big bodies that are going to be hard to remove through normal means. I really like this card in this deck, and yeah, I definitely think it should be played at least a 2 or 3 of. 4 is cool with me, but yeah, if you don't like it at 4 of, I would love to know your reasoning why. Next up, we're running 3 Hibari, a 5 cost 6000 power character from OP11 that I really like. I really like this card, folks. It doesn't have counter, which is definitely a bummer, so that's why I'm only running it at 3. But when she hits, boy does she hit. On play, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2000 power for the turn. Then she also has the ability of, when attacking, this character gains plus 1000 power. And then if your leader has the Navy type, they can attack active characters during the turn. Her on play ability and her when attacking ability synergize perfectly, folks. I really like her in this deck. Most people are playing her at least a 3 of, and I definitely agree with that. Next up, we have X-Drake, a 6/7 vanilla that on the surface isn't really too crazy, but it is also a 2k counter. While a 6/7 body isn't really that crazy, it is definitely a nice card to establish on 6 Don that can't easily be removed by your opponent, because not only is he 7000 power, but we do have that leader ability, of course. I don't have too much to say about him. Next up, we have 2 copies of the 7 cost 6000 power Ein from OP07. This is definitely spicy tech that I saw on Twitter. I saw a couple different people running it, I think, but I definitely wanted to give it a try, and it didn't always work out. You know, there were definitely situations where I just felt like it was kind of dead in my hand, but in ideal circumstances, when you pull off this card, it feels great. Her ability is on play, set up to one of your opponent's characters power to 0, and that is ridiculous, folks. Setting a, for example, 10 cost 12,000 power Shanks to 0 power for a turn, swing into it with a bunch of different bodies, that is a great feeling. Now, since she's not a sword type character, she is not able to attack characters the turn she's played, which is definitely a bummer, but establishing a 7/6 body and then also setting one of your opponent's characters to 0 power and hopefully dealing with that character this turn, yeah, that's pretty solid in my book, folks. It's definitely spicy tech for a reason and definitely not necessary, but I've kind of just having fun with this list and trying out some fun cards. Next up, we have 2 OP07 Monkey D Dragons, an 8 cost 9000 power rush character with the ability to give 2 rested Don to one of your leaders or characters. Now, this is definitely another card that's not being run in every single list. I mean, he doesn't go with the sword theme, but man, 8 cost 9000 power with that ability to give 2 rested Don cards to your leader or one of your characters, that is just so strong. It's hard to turn down, folks. I feel like this deck could use some more rushers that can actually swing into life, and that's why I included him. I love him at 8 Don, and so I'm definitely happy with him in this list. Next up, we've got 4 copies of the OP11 Aramaki, a 1 cost 2000 power character with 2k counter as well. He's got the ability of activate main. You may trash this character. If your leader has the Navy type, you may give one of your characters the ability to swing into one of your opponent's active characters. Then you trash 2 cards from your deck, which isn't really that big of a deal because it's going to help fill up our trash, which we need for our leader ability. This is definitely a nice card to play out early, and then when you play out, for example, Hibari on your 5 Don turn, use his ability, trash him, and then let Hibari swing into an active character. When you're doing that, when you're seeing everything you need to see, folks, this deck does feel pretty good, but unfortunately, I at least don't feel like it's always just enough. Even when it feels good in some matchups, controlling the board and trying to establish some of these bodies just doesn't really feel like it's enough. But nevertheless, Aramaki, a solid 2k counter with utility. I'm definitely running him at 4 in this deck. Next up, we're running 4 Ripper. This is just a 1 cost 1000 power 1k counter blocker from OP11. He's not even really a blocker. He has to have another black Navy card on the field other than Ripper for him actually to get the blocker ability. Even though he has a condition to make himself a blocker, 1 cost is just too good value. There's a lot of ways to deal with 1 cost characters, of course, but I'm down for this guy in my deck. Next up, we have Very Good, a 4 cost 5000 power body that's mostly going to be used as a 2k counter. Now, he does have the on play ability that would be really good into a Nami matchup, for example, or maybe even a Lucci matchup, which is on play. Your opponent places 3 event cards from their trash at the bottom of their deck. Now, Nami and Lucci aren't probably going to be super relevant this set, but he's a 2k counter at the end of the day, and if I needed him, I'd be mad if I didn't have him. Next up, we have the 4 cost 6000 power Hina from Starter Deck 19. I honestly don't really like this card in this deck. I was surprised by how many people were running her. Maybe it's just me and I'm not wrapping my head around her use cases, but I just have been pretty unimpressed with her in this deck. She's got 2 abilities. Her first ability is Don ×1 during your opponent's turn. This character gains +4 cost. That's pretty good, don't get me wrong, folks. I don't hate that at all. She also has the ability of activate main. Once per turn, you may place 1 card from your trash at the bottom of your deck. Then give your leader or one of your characters 1 rested Don card. Again, that's a strong ability, but like with this leader, when we're trying to be really aggressive, when we're trying to control the board and put put pressure on their characters. With our characters, the turn they're played, she doesn't have the sword ability, so we can't attack with her right away. So for that reason, sometimes I'm just kind of like skeptical of her, you know? If you really like her in this deck, if you want to awaken my mind to the strength of Hina in this deck, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. I just kind of left her in, but I'm not a believer, folks. I definitely could be talked out of her. Next up, we have 4 6-cost 7,000 power Helmeppos from OP11. One of the main staples of this deck, Helmeppo has the ability of on play, you may trash a card from your hand, then you draw 1 card and play up to 1 sword type character other than Helmeppo with a cost of 8 or less from your trash to the field, and then at the end of your turn, you play the card that you brought back with Helmeppo to the bottom of your deck. The main combo here is playing out Helmeppo and then also the 8-cost Koby, but of course the 6-cost X-Drake or the 5-cost Hibari are not bad options either. I'll go right into the Koby, 8-cost 9,000 power, the secret rare from OP11. He's got the on play of one of your characters can attack one of your opponent's active characters on the turn they're played. Now, of course, on play for the most part, I'm giving him this ability, but of course, I don't necessarily always do that. Then he has the ability of when attacking, you may return 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck. Then you may give your leader or one of your characters plus 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. This is a great way to turn your leader into a 6,000 power leader, which in a lot of matchups is going to be really helpful. One tactic you'll see a lot is to play down Helmeppo on 6-stan, trash a Koby with Helmeppo's ability, then play out the Koby. This is letting you attack 2 times in 1 turn with 2 characters you just played with Helmeppo and Koby, of course. Now, you do have to kind of be aware that you can't actually swing into life, which would just be too OP, I guess. Being able to cheat out a 6 and an 8-cost body, both swinging at life, would just be too strong. But sometimes your opponent doesn't really have much of a board presence, and so cheating out an 8-cost temporarily for 1 turn doesn't really feel like amazing, you know? You're going to have to put that Koby to the bottom of your deck afterwards. So, yeah, there's definitely situations where this combination is stronger than others, but yeah, let me know what you think about it in the comments. Now onto the event cards. We're running 1 Honesty Impact, a new 6-cost event. Activate main, give one of your opponent's characters minus 4,000 power for the rest of the turn, then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a power of 6,000 or less. It also has the really strong trigger of being able to KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a power of 6,000 or less. That is such a strong trigger, folks. Last but certainly not least, we do have 4 of the new OP11 Navy Searcher. I am the man who will become a Navy officer. What a crazy card name. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck for a Navy card. Take 1, trash the rest. It's as simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. It also has the trigger to activate this ability. Not a lot for me to say about it, folks. These are some of the other cards I've seen people run in this deck. Honestly, I'm not loving this leader, but if you're liking this leader, if you see some cards here that you're like, Johnny, you need to be playing these cards, then maybe I'll give this leader another shot. Before we get into the gameplay, of course, I have a giveaway for you today, folks. Today, we're going to be giving away a custom red-black Koby leader editor. Throw it up on screen. Boom. It's using art from the One Piece Bounty Rush app. I am not the artist. I am not selling this. This is just a fun personal fan project. All you have to do to enter this giveaway is 1, leave a like, and 2, leave a comment. It's as simple as that, folks. Then, if this video gets 25 likes in the first 24 hours, I'll randomly choose the US-based commenter and send it to you completely free. That's all you got to do, folks. Leave a like, leave a comment, and if your heart desires, if you want to help me out, if you want to make my day, consider hitting that subscribe button down below. You've heard enough of me yapping about this deck. Let's run the gameplay. Our first match of the day is going to be against a blue-purple Luffy from OP11. I've got to be honest, folks, I do not have a lot of hope for us in this matchup. Our whole shtick of attacking characters, active and attacking characters the turn we play our characters, isn't really that strong against decks like blue-purple Luffy that are going to be able to ramp up and play some really big bodies like 9-cost Sanji, 8-cost Katakuri, etc. But we'll see how we do. We're not going to give up. We are going to be on the even curve. They don't have a 1-don play. We do have the Peacock Searcher. We have 2 of them, actually. Our first one, we've got a couple different options off of this search. I really don't know what to take. We've got Doll Blocker. We've got a Borsellino Blocker. We've got a Hibari. We also have the Honesty Impact. I'm thinking maybe we take the Honesty Impact and use that to get rid of a big character later on in the game. In hindsight, though, I don't know if I love that. I think I probably should have taken the Doll or the Borsellino Blocker or even Hibari. Honesty Impact can sometimes be a little bit awkward to play because it does take 6 Don. They're going to start out with the 6,000 power swing. They probably have a way to ramp or Zoro Drawer to play after this. We are going to take that hit and get Very Good, which is really just going to be used as a 2K. They will ramp to 4 Don and pass it back to us. 4 Don for us to work with. I debate playing out the 4-cost Hina here or maybe maybe even the doll blocker, but really I'm just going to swing big with our leader, trying to put some pressure on them. I kind of feel like not swinging that turn if I established the Hina would have just been too slow, and then also if they had a God Thread, they'd be able to get rid of that Hina quite easily. They're going to do an 8,000 power swing into us. In hindsight, I should have countered out of this with 2/2Ks. They left 4 Don up. I thought maybe it'd be a Bon Clay. They won't hit me with a pudding so early, right? Right, folks? I don't know. We'll see if I was wrong about that. We are going to take this hit, and they will happily play a pudding, sending us back to 5 cards in hand. That's a bummer. At least they didn't ramp that turn. I think I might just be coping. We are going to play down the Event Searcher from OP11. We will find a Helmeppo. Maybe I should have played out the X-Drake this turn instead of doing these searches, but it would feel bad to get rid of the only 2K counter in my hand. We're going to do another search. I'm going to take that 1-cost blocker, the Ripper from OP11. Now I'm just going to swing big with my leader again and then do another Peacock search. 8,000 now with our leader into them. They have no Don up. They'll have to give us 2 cards from hand if they don't want to take this hit. They let the swing go through. Now instead of the Peacock Searcher, I'm actually going to play the 1-cost Ripper blocker. Technically he's not a blocker right now because I don't have a black Navy card in play, but next turn I definitely will, whether it's Helmeppo or Koby. 8 Don for them to work with. They're going to play down the Usohachi to rest the Ripper. I don't agree with this play. I don't love it. Maybe they didn't really have any other options in hand though. If they didn't have that 8-cost category, they probably just didn't have any other things to play. I'll take the first 7,000 power swing and then I'll counter out of the second one. We have 8 Don to work with, and I'm going to play out the Helmeppo, trashing the Koby to be able to cheat out the Koby. I'm definitely going to get rid of this pudding this turn, but I'm not really going to be able to put much pressure on life, which feels kind of bad. Seeing an 8-cost dragon would be pretty good in this situation. I'm going to swing with Koby into the pudding. With Koby's ability, I'll be able to make my leader a 6,000 power leader until the start of my next turn, which is huge. Huge on defense, and then huge because I'll also be able to swing into my opponent's life this turn. Now we're going to do a 9,000 power Helmeppo swing into their Usohachi just to clear it off the board. I can't swing into life anyway. We can do a search where we will find a Very Good, which is really just a 2K counter for us. They're going to counter out of that 7,000 power swing into their life, and I'll pass it back to them. They get to use leader ability now. They will find that OP06 Sanji blocker 2K counter. Then they're going to use the 9-cost secret rare Sanji, cheat out the 8-cost rush Luffy. Ooh, this is pretty rough, ladies and gentlemen. With that Luffy's ability, they're going to be able to send that Ripper back to our hand. We are going to use the Koby ability to actually keep that Ripper on the board. Then we're going to use the Ripper to block. Now they give it Don to their leader. They're going to be able to swing 7,000 at us, and I think we should 2K counter out of this. They might swing into the Helmeppo actually, but we still counter out of that as well. We definitely want to keep that Helmeppo alive. If we can't keep it on the board here, then yeah, I think it would just be GG's. But we can keep it on the board. We are going to give them, the question is, what do we want to give them? I think we give them the 2K counter, Very Good. Of course, the doll is only a 1K counter, so that maybe makes more sense mathematically, but I'll probably play the doll out this next turn and give minus, I believe it's 4,000 power to the Monkey D. Luffy so we can clear it. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant to use the doll for counter. I think I'm going to use the Very Good here. Feels bad countering over 1,000 more than I need to, but it is what it is. Passing it to us, we've got 10 Don to work with. Man, I would love to play the Koby and the doll, but unfortunately I will not be able to. I think just playing down the doll is the move. I could also go doll and X-Drake. That's not a bad idea, folks. If I say so myself, it would be really hard for them to keep the Monkey D. Luffy alive if I'm swinging at it potentially 3 times between the X-Drake, the Helmeppo, and my leader. It's actually minus 6,000 with the doll, which is amazing. It's going to be pretty easy to remove this Monkey D. Luffy, unless they just have crazy amount of counter, folks. I'm going to start out trying to remove this Monkey D. Luffy with the 5,000 power leader swing. I wouldn't be surprised if they Gum Gum Giant out of this, which they will do, and I low-key think this might be a mistake. The reason for that is if they just let the Monkey D. Luffy go, I would only be swinging like 7,000 into their life with Helmeppo. I don't really think I would put all my down on Helmeppo and swing huge into it, and if that's the case, they could have just Gum Gum Giant out of that attack or potentially just taken that hit. I don't really think it makes too much sense. Maybe now I guess my X-Drake is rested, so they're going to be able to swing into it, but I don't necessarily just like the Gum Gum Giant there. They are also going to counter out of that Helmeppo swing its life with a 0-cost counter event. They're only down to 4 cards, and I think we're actually in a decent spot. Well, we're in a decent spot unless they have an Usohachi, the 7-cost OP09 Sanji, a God Thread, anything to get rid of this doll. Well, I guess the God Thread doesn't really count because we could use our leader ability to keep it alive. Off leader ability, their leader ability, they're able to find the OP07 secret rare Sanji. Then they're going to be at 10 Don. They are going to use the gravity Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, and this is a critical misplay from them. I mean, technically it's possible they didn't have anything else to really play from their hand, but I find that hard to believe. 3 Dawn left up, they're going to give 2 to their leader, swing 8,000 into our life. I think they should be swinging to my characters here because I'm okay to take 1 hit. With 1 Dawn left up, there's nothing for me to really fear. I can just block with Doll here, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to block that 9,000 power Sanji swing into our X-Drake, and also if they're going to swing into my X-Drake, they should have swung at it first with their leader. So a couple of misplays here by my opponent. It's not the end of the world. We're going to do a 9,000 power Helmeppo swing here. We'll see if they got a Gum Gum Giant. They maybe don't. Maybe they're just testing me. They will take that hit, and now I'm like, do I just go all in? I don't think there's any way I survive another turn. So yeah, we're just going to go all in. Leave a Dawn up for Koby to swing one more time. 14,000 at them. They're going to have counter, folks. Let's see. They're able to get to 13. Can they get to 15? They cannot. That was really strange at the end. Definitely some misplays, which are a little bit disappointing, but it's a new leader. People are learning it. It is what it is. I think that game showcased Koby a little bit. Frankly, I'm not great with Koby, so it's kind of hard to showcase this deck in a great way just because I don't feel like I've really mastered it yet and haven't wrapped my head around it fully. I mean, I think I've kind of wrapped my head around it. It's just not great in the current meta with the current support at least. We are going to be playing against Green Yellow Law this game. This is going to be an interesting matchup because Green Yellow Law usually has a lot of characters on board, and Koby of course likes to attack into characters. They're going to start out with the 1 cost Capone Beige play to set the top card of their life. We are going to start out with the 1 cost Event Searcher. I'm leaning towards the Borsalino or the Berry Good. The Berry Good of course being a 2k, the Ripper just being a blocker. I'll play it out this turn even though it's not really a blocker and it could hypothetically get removed, but if they want to use resources, resting my Ripper and swinging into it, then so be it. Like, I'm not really too worried about that. If anything, it's still going to act as a blocker if they're going to be swinging into it. 3 Dawn for them to work with. They're going to start out with the 1 cost Jewelry Body Searcher. They're not going to search with her though. They're also going to play down the 2 cost Capone Beige, setting themselves up very nicely for next turn. 5,000 into our leader, and we are going to take that. Question here is, how do I want to play this turn? The Hina might be my best bet. I really don't love Hina in this deck though. I see a lot of people running her on Twitter and their lists, but honestly I just haven't really enjoyed her that much. We're going to swing 5,000 into their life, which they will take, and then we'll play out the Hina, passing it back to them. They're going to be at 5 Dawn. They'll play the Cavendish. Ooh, having that Cavendish on curve really hurts. They're going to be able to restand 2 Dawn, probably pull some leader shenanigans here if they can. They will. They're going to play down the 1 cost Beige to set the top of their life, but them doing this does set them down to 2 life, so we are in an actual position to pressure them pretty well. They're going to use the leader ability to send back a Beige to hand. That is a 2k counter. We got to keep that in mind. Then they're going to play out that 5 cost Blocker Law from OP11. They're going to send the other 2k counter Beige back to their hand and play out a Jewelry Bonnie Searcher. Not searching with that, not searching with the other Jewelry Bonnie on the field. 6,000 into our life now, and I might even 2k counter out of this just because I want to keep my life relatively healthy. 6 Dawn for us to work with, and it is going to be a Helmeppo into Koby play. We're going to be able to play out this Helmeppo, cheat out the Koby, and then swing into one of their bodies. I don't think whatever we swing into will die. They do have that Capone Beige blocker on the field, so I feel like there's no way they'd let Cavendish go here, but I still think it's the move to put some pressure on them. Debating on whether or not to swing with Hina into their life first. I'm going to play down the Helmeppo first though, trash the Koby, play out the Koby from our trash with his ability. I'll probably let him swing into an active character, and that active character will probably be Cavendish, or maybe it's the Blocker Law, maybe even the Beige. It'll probably be Cavendish, but either way, they'll block with Beige, I imagine. We're going to use Hina's ability to give a Dawn to our leader, and then we're going to swing 9,000 to the Blocker Law. I think my idea here was to play some like mind games, you know, thinking that they'd probably let the Law go if instead of swinging into the Cavendish, but I guess it doesn't really matter too much. I should have just swung into the Cavendish. They will counter out of that, and if they're countering out of that, they would have countered out of the Cavendish swing anyway. They're going to let that 6,000 power Hina swing go through to their life. Now a 7,000 power leader swing, and they are going to let that one go too. They're down to 0 cards in life, ladies and gentlemen. We are putting on the pressure. 7 Dawn for them to work with. We'll probably see the 7 cost Secret Rare Law here. They'll start their turn by doing a Jewelry Bonnie search. While they do have to rest the Dawn to do this, they'll be able to restand that Dawn with Cavendish. They get the X-Drake from OP11. That is a 2k counter. Then they're going to use with the other Jewelry Bonnie searcher, they're going to find the Capone Beige 2k counter from OP10. They are stacking up 2k counters. 6,000 into our life. We are going to take this, I think we're all right to take it. I guess we'll counter out with the 1 cost Ripper but maybe I should have kept that Ripper in my hand and played it out this next turn. Just a 1-cost blocker, you can't really go wrong with that. Now they will play down the 7-cost Law. We know they have 3 2k counters in their hand, which is pretty crazy. They'll give a Don to their leader. They'll be able to swing 6,000 into us. The question is, will they use leader ability here? I don't imagine they will. They don't really need to. They've got 2 blockers on the board and a bunch of 2k counters in hand. They'll use leader ability to send their 1-cost Bonnie to their hand. They do have that 5-cost jewelry Bonnie at the top of their life, and they'll play it out to freeze the Hina. That is a pretty good play for them. 6,000 now into our leader, 6,000 into 6,000. I'll take this. We get the 2k counter Aramaki. That's pretty solid. The question is, what do I do here? That beige is getting in the way of my honesty impact. That is such a bummer, man. Beige, you hate to play against them. You love playing him. I am going to play down the Ein to set their Cavendish power level to 0. The fact that they have that beige and Trafalgar Law blocker on the field is a little bit annoying, though. So I'm thinking we play out that 1-cost Prince to prevent their beige from blocking this turn. Not my worst idea. We can even swing into the Cavendish with it. So we're going to swing 2,000 into 0. I imagine they'll counter out of this, or maybe free block with the Trafalgar Law. Then I'm probably going to use Hina's ability to give a Don to my leader. They have so much counter in hand, though. I don't know if we're actually going to be able to get this Cavendish off the board. It looks like they're going to counter out of this, which makes total sense. Want to keep that Cavendish alive as much as possible. And they got plenty of counter in their hand. Now we're going to swing 6,000 with our leader. They're actually going to block and then counter out to keep their Law alive. Now it doesn't really, like, it's tempting to swing into life, but there's no way they don't have the counter. Especially if they just blocked and counter with Trafalgar Law. They do have a lot of 2Ks in trash, but I should just play it safe and get rid of this Cavendish. I'm going to swing 7,000 into it, passing it back to them. 9 Don for them to work with. We got a couple of 2Ks in our hand. We've got a blocker on board. They do have a decent board, though. I'm not super confident right now. They're going to start with a 6,000 or 7,000 power swing with their Jewelry Bonnie into our life. In hindsight, I definitely should have blocked with the Ripper. I feel so dumb for not blocking there. The reason I didn't is I just thought, oh, I can easily counter out of a 7,000 power swing, or maybe I even take it. We have this blocker on board. We got a lot of 2Ks, but I forgot they still have that X-Drake in their hand. The X-Drake's going to be able to rest our Ripper, and now we're about to have a couple of big swings come into our life. We do have a decent amount of counter, but I'm not feeling great about it, folks. They give 2 Don to their leader. They might even do leader ability to pull some shenanigans, but yeah, this is not ideal. If we got counter instead of the Hibari, I think we'd be in a great spot. Or at least a little bit more comfortable of a spot, folks. Let me know in the comments down below. Did I misplay? Like, what did I do wrong? Now they're going to swing 9,000 at us. We will take that. They can swing 10,000 with their bigger Law here. They're going to swing 9,000, and we can actually counter out of this. The question is, are they going to swing with their 6-cost Trafalgar Law blocker? And they are. Unfortunately, I am 1 counter shy, and I do lose that game. That was a good game, though. I don't know what I could have done better. I'm just not great with Koby, maybe. Greenlaw is definitely a sleeper leader in this meta, though, folks. Don't sleep on him. He's a great leader. He's got some good support in OP11 in the new Bonnie starter decks. Our next game is going to be against a blue-purple Reiju from OP06. I haven't seen this leader in a while, so it'll be interesting to see how this game goes. We are on the even curve. We're going to start out with double Peacock yet again. Off the first Peacock search, I'm going to take the 8-cost Koby, and then we're going to play another one. And off this one, I'm thinking maybe we take a 2K counter Aramaki. Doesn't sound like a bad idea to me, and we'll pass it back to them. 3 Don for them to work with. They will play out the stage for 1 Don. Off of the stage search, they will find the Vinsmoke Judge. That's the 8-cost one from OP06. Gotta be prepared to potentially see that later in the game. Now a 7,000 power swing from their leader into us. I think we definitely take this, folks. We'll take that. We get the Ripper, the blocker, nothing too crazy there. We'll start out with the 5,000 power swing on our turn with our leader. I'm thinking here, maybe we just kind of set up double blocker with the Ripper and the Borsalino. The Borsalino might be helpful depending on what they play out later. Then next turn, we can maybe start playing out some bigger bodies like that 6-cost 7,000 power X-Drake. We'll see. We'd love to find a Helmeppo, of course. They're going to play down the 2-cost Vinsmoke Reiju. Off Vinsmoke Reiju's ability, they're able to cheat out the new 4-cost OP11 Vinsmoke Reiju. The new Reiju from OP11 is a 2K counter 4/5 body, which is pretty solid, and you get to do a search. 7,000 now with their leader and our leader. I am leaning towards taking this, going down to 2 life against a deck that plays EGG does feel a little bit scary, but I think we're alright to take this, and we do find that 6 cost Helmeppo. It was destiny, ladies and gentlemen. 6 Don for us to work with. You know we're playing out this Helmeppo. We're going to be able to cheat out the Koby. We'll play Koby over one of our Peacocks. Unfortunately, we didn't get value with one of the Peacock's abilities, but we can use the other Peacock's ability. We're going to give a plus 1000 power to our Koby, and then we're going to swing with Koby into their Reiju. We're going to start with our leader first. This is definitely a little bit of a misplay. We swung with our leader into their life first, where I think we should have swung with Koby first, because then we'd also be able to power up our leader. 10,000 and a 5,000, they will let the Reiju go, and I'll pass it back to them. 6 Don for them to work with. They're going to start out by giving a couple Don to their leader, more than a couple. They're going to give 5 Don. This is definitely a rough turn for them, swinging 10,000 and a 6,000. I'm considering blocking this, and I will block with Ripper just to not take that hit, no need, and also keep the counter in our hand. I wonder what the method to their madness was that turn. I mean, they could have used stage, they could have done some cycling, but maybe they just wanted to try to pressure us as much as possible and swung big with their leader. Now we're going to be at 8 down. We have a couple of different options. First, we have a 7,000 power Helmeppo swing. This turn, I could play Helmeppo into Koby. I could just play Koby straight up. I could also play a Monkey D Dragon straight up. I like the idea of a Monkey D Dragon straight up. 7,000 now into their life. They countered out of the first attack, and now 7,000 again. They'll counter out of this one with a 2k, 1k. They counter with the 4 cost EGG, and I'm realizing what I think they were planning to do last turn. I think last turn they didn't maybe play out a 4 cost EGG because they're trying to get to 8 down to play out that Vinsmoke Judge, but I don't think that was worth it. I think probably putting pressure on us was the better idea by establishing the EGG and not worrying about the Judge. They are going to take that 9,000 power swing from Monkey D Dragon, and I'll pass it back to them. I don't really play Reiju though, so who am I to question their beliefs? We'll see if they play the Judge this turn, and if they do, I mean, that'll certainly hit. We've got a lot of counter in our hand. We do have a blocker on the field and 2 decent sized bodies, but we'll see what they can come up with. They will play down that 8 cost Judge. Returning Don, they're going to trash a couple cards from their hand. They're going to bring out the whole family, folks. They've got the Vinsmoke Ichiji, they've got the Reiju, and do they have any others? That is the question. They do. They've got the Niji. Now it's time for them to do all their transformation shenanigans. They're going to start with Reiju. They're able to draw a card off that. They actually get another Vinsmoke Judge. Interesting choice. They'll do Niji next and just play out the strong vanilla one. Then they'll do Ichiji, the classic 7 cost 7,000 power rush. They'll give minus 2,000 to my Helmeppo. They will try to clear it this turn. They'll be able to swing 5,000 and 7,000 into it. They're not going to swing into the Helmeppo though. They're going to swing into my life, 5,000 into 5,000. I'm thinking here we do counter. Do I give him the 2k? Yeah, I'll give him the 2k. I want to keep that 4 cost doll blocker in my hand. Now 7,000 at Helmeppo. This is a tough one, ladies and gentlemen. If I keep Helmeppo on the board, he's going to be able to apply a lot of good pressure, but I am going to have to give up some good counter for my hand. I could also use the Borsellino blocker, but I really do like his ability. We are going to counter out of that, and they'll pass it back to us. Debating here going doll in the Helmeppo, but I do need to be a little bit careful as I am going low in card hand size, and they do have a couple of decent sized bodies on board. I definitely want to deal with their board right here. I guess I also maybe could have pushed for game, but with 5 cards in hand and 2 life, I don't feel comfortable doing that. We'll start with the 5,000 power swing from our Koby into their Ichiji, who is now 1,000 power because of Doll's effect. Now we're going to swing 7,000 with Helmeppo into their life, 7,000 into 5,000. They're actually going to counter out of this, which I think is good. Now we can play Helmeppo. We're going to trash an X-Drake 2k counter, which feels bad, but we're able to cheat out the Koby here. Hopefully we're going to be able to remove one of their bodies. I'm going to swing into the Reiju, just because, of course, the Niji is higher power, but there's a chance they have the counter to keep it alive, and I want to take the guaranteed KO. So we're going to swing 9,000 with our Koby character into the Reiju. They let it go. We're able to power up our Koby by plus 1,000. Now we'll swing 9,000 with Dragon into their life, and this is the moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. Are they going to have any way to deal with my 2 blockers? Are they going to have any way to pressure our life? We only have 2k of counter in hand, so I don't really feel like we're in a great spot, but of course that Niji and that Judge is pretty scary. They've got 6 Don to work with. They're going to rest 2 and do a Gamma Knife. Ooh, that's interesting. They're going to Gamma Knife my Monkey D Dragon. Now he's only a 4,000 power character. He is going to be able to get removed pretty easily. With another 2 Don, they're going to use another Gamma Knife. That's pretty absurd, folks. They're going to swing 2,000 and a negative 1,000. I actually almost consider countering out of this. I don't think it's really necessary though. So sorry, Dragon, I'm going to have to let you go. Now they're going to have 3 swings with Reiju, Neji, and Judge. We should be fine. They're going to use, I think, Stage to do a little bit of a card cycle, trashing EGG, drawing Neji. They'll give a Don to their leader to swing 6,000 into our life. We're definitely going to take this. I don't really think it matters at this point what we do. If anything, I think it makes sense to keep our blockers on the board as best to our ability as possible. We'll take the 6,000 power swing, now a 6,000 swing with Neji, and I am actually going to counter out of that one. And then Judge, there's an 8,000 power swing coming from Judge. If they decide to swing, they decide not to swing for whatever reason, it doesn't really matter though, because we have game. Unless they have a spicy trigger or a ton of counter in hand or some shenanigans, we've got this. We can always give Don to our Borsellino blocker and swing with him. They'll take the first hit, a 9,000 power swing, and then a 13,000 Koby swing. Didn't really matter whether or not they swung with Judge because it was going to be game either way. I would have blocked with Doll. On to the next one, GG's of course, but yeah, a little bit of a weird game. Now we're going to be playing against Green Purple Luffy, a matchup that should be interesting. Green Purple Luffy able to get a lot of characters on the board, a lot of pressure on our life. We're on the odd curve. We'll start out with the Peacock Search. We'll take the Borsellino blocker, and then we will just pass it back to them. Nothing too crazy in our hand. We do have that 5-cost Hibari, which would be nice to play on curve, but besides that, nothing really out of the ordinary. We'll be able to do another Peacock Search this next turn. They'll start out with the Stage and the Nami Search, drawing the OP11 Sanji. They're off to a great start. We're going to start with the Event Searcher. A couple decent choices here, the Hibari or the X-Drake. I think I gotta go with the X-Drake though. A 2k counter with 7,000 power. You gotta love that. We're going to do a Peacock Search now. Off this, I'm leaning towards taking a Koby, the 8-cost 9,000 power Beast, the new secret rare. Could have taken a Doll or a Very Good. Both of those are also decent cards to find. Now we're going to swing 5,000 with our leader, and then for 1 Don, I'm thinking we play out the Aramaki. This will help one of our other characters we play down have the ability to attack active characters. We could do that this following turn with Hibari if the Aramaki can stay on the board. They might have the 4-cost Zoro. We'll see though. 5,000 into our life with their leader. We get the Event Search trigger, which is great. Off the trigger, we can either take the 6-cost Helmeppo or the 1-cost Ripper blocker. And this is pretty crazy, but I'm going to take the Ripper. The reason for that is I'm going to play the Hibari this next turn, and I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, folks. But against Green Purple Luffy with so many attacks, I'm thinking that just having that little blocker would be helpful. But if I'm crazy, you can let me know in the comments down below, folks. We're going to use Aramaki's ability along with Peacock's to power up our Hibari. She's going to be able to swing into the Zoro Joro, which is pretty great, hopefully, to get that off the board. With her ability, we were able to give minus 2,000 power to the Zoro Joro, so we're swinging 8,000 into 4,000. That's pretty absurd. No way they keep this alive, right, folks? Right? Please tell me they don't try to keep that alive. They don't. Now we'll swing 5,000 into their life. They are gonna take that, and we'll pass it back to them. 6 Don for them to work with. The moment of truth. Do they have a Sanji and putting on curve? Yes, they do. They'll be able to play that down, use leader ability. They're going to be a 6,000 power leader now. 4 Don open. Wow, that was a pretty good turn for them already. Let's see what else they have. 4 Don, they're going to have the 4-cost Zoro that rests our Peacock. They're going to be able to swing into the Peacock with the Nami. Now they're going to swing 6,000 with their leader into our Hibari. We definitely want to keep this alive. We're going to use a counter card. Do we use the Ripper? I think we use the Ripper just to keep the 2Ks in our hand, and also that Borsellino has some other decent on-play value. We do get the Helmeppo now from the top of our deck. That was Destiny saying, Johnny, you're silly, get that Helmeppo and play out a Koby from your trash. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to play down the 6-cost Helmeppo, cheat out an 8-cost Koby. We'll let Koby attack active characters. Now we're going to be able to swing with Hibari into our opponent's life, 7,000 into 6,000, and then we're also going to give our Koby leader the ability to attack active characters. That could come in handy. They're going to take that swing. They're down to 2 life. The question is with our Koby leader, do we swing into their life or do we swing into maybe their 4-cost Zoro? I'm going to give a Don to our 8-cost Koby, swing 10,000 into their Sanji and Pudding. I imagine they're going to keep this alive. It'll only take 4k of counter, and they've got plenty of cards in hand. They'll have the 0-cost counter event and then also trash the 2k counter Sanji. The fact that we got them to counter over is pretty good. Now a 6,000 power swing with our Koby leader into their leader. They will have the Gamma Knife trigger, which does allow them to ramp it on. I maybe should have swung into their 4-cost Zoro with our leader, but it is what it is. They're going to have another Sanji and Pudding. That is diabolical after using leader ability. They've got a ton of Don still up. 6,000 now into our Hibari. I don't know if I'm going to have enough counter to keep it alive, and so I let it go. Maybe I should have considered keeping it alive, but if they've got the Rush Luffy, that could be pretty awkward, folks. Maybe I should have kept it alive. 7,000 now with Sanji and Pudding into our life. I'm thinking we 2k counter out of this with Very Good, RIP Very Good. They will have the Rush Luffy, swing 7,000 into our life here. And things are getting a little bit awkward, folks. 7,000 into 6,000. We are going to take that, and we are going to have 9 Don up and have to deal with a little bit of an awkward situation with how many characters they have on board. This is actually pretty crazy. We're going to play down the 4-cost doll blocker. We're going to be able to give minus 6,000, I believe it is, to their Rush Luffy. We should be able to clear at this turn. Hopefully we will be able to. If not, we're going to have an issue. I'm going to start out with a 7,000 power Helmeppo swing into it, hoping to get it off the board. They could have a Gum Gum Giant to maybe keep it alive. That seems a little bit dramatic, but I wouldn't be surprised. We've still got 5 Don up. We'll play down a 3-cost Borsalino after that. They'll let it go, which is good news. Now I'm going to swing 7,000, I guess, into the Zoro, or should I just swing into life? I guess I'll swing into the Zoro, but I feel like they're going to keep this alive. If they do have the Gum Gum Giant, it would make sense for them to use it, and they will. They're going to trash a secret rare Rush Luffy and then draw 2 cards. Then we're going to play down the 3-cost Borsalino and really just hope for the best. For 5 Don, they're going to play down another Sanji and Pudding, and I do not think this is the best. They're going to be able to use leader ability. Oh my god, re-ramp and Don like crazy. This is crazy, folks. This Helmeppo is going to die this turn, no doubt. They've got another 4-cost Zoro, so they're going to be able to rest one of my blockers. They'll rest my Borsalino and then swing 5,000 into it with the Zoro. Of course, I'm going to let that Borsalino go. RIP Borsalino. Now with 5,000 power swing with their other Zoro. This is going to be a rough turn. They've got 2 other 7,000 power swings with their Sanji and Puddings. They've got 4 Don up and a 6,000 power leader. I am going to counter out of this one. I consider taking it just to get more cards in hand and then maybe try to keep Helmeppo alive. They're going to swing 7,000 now into Helmeppo, and I am going to counter out of that. Trashing the Prince Groose was definitely a misplay though, folks. Prince Groose's ability might come in handy later on in the game. Then I'm not even going to protect the Helmeppo from the other Sanji and Pudding. I have a 2k counter X-Drake in my hand. Why did I not keep it alive, folks? That would have been my only chance of winning, basically. That was a complete like brain fart on my part. I really should have kept the Helmeppo alive. If they wanted to swing big with Luffy into it, I could have blocked with Doll, and now I basically secured myself as not being able to win. If I had the Helmeppo on board and the Prince Groose in my hand, I'd be able to play down Prince Groose, swing with Prince Groose using his ability to prevent the Nico Robin from blocking, and then I would have been able to swing Helmeppo into life and then Koby into life, and that probably should do the trick if I divvied up my Don right. They don't have any Don up, so they wouldn't be able to use Gum Gum Giant. Yeah, this was a bummer, folks. I feel like a fool, and here I'm just going to concede because I am out of options, and I won't waste any more of their time. GG's. And look at their hand. They were completely bricked. Even if Helmeppo wasn't on the board, if I had Prince Groose, I could win with a Doll swing of 6,000 power and then a Koby swing. Oh my god, folks. I am feeling so salty. Let's wrap this one up. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the games I got for you. I cannot believe I fumbled that green-purple Luffy game. Honestly, that's a hard matchup, so I don't really feel too bad about losing. I also don't feel bad about losing because I'm not, like, I just need to accept that I'm not a red-black Koby player. If you are, though, I would love to hear your tips in the comment section down below. Is it just me, folks? I need to know, is it just me who's not enjoying this leader? If you made it this far in the video, you are an absolute real one. Consider hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're also doing that giveaway for the custom leader, so hit that like button, hit the comment button. You've had enough of me, folks. If you made it this far in the video, shout out to you. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Peace.